Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Calling all 8th graders. If you've ever felt that sudden awful pit in your stomach when you're staring down a giant blank box on a test page, well, today is absolutely your lucky day. We're going to conquer that test anxiety once and for all by mastering the STAAR short answer. We're talking total confidence and a foolproof strategy. Sound good? Let's get into it.
Think of me as your teacher just writing the day's lesson plan right up on the board so you know exactly where we're heading. First, we'll cover the art of apt replies, then why short answers matter, how to craft your answer, strong versus weak evidence, your homework questions, and finally, education, morality, and peace.
Okay, let's dive right into this first section, the art of apt replies.
You know, there's this really common misconception that a brief answer is an easy answer. But actually, writing something short requires incredibly strong, highly focused thinking. When you don't have pages and pages to just ramble on, every single word literally has to count. Now, Proverbs 15:23 says, "A person finds joy in giving an apt reply, and how good is a timely word." Just think about that for a second. Finding that perfect, concise response isn't just about surviving a test or grabbing a good grade. It actually brings joy. There's this deep, wonderful satisfaction that comes from knowing exactly the right thing to say at exactly the right time at exactly the right way.
So, let's ground that beautiful ancient wisdom into our academic reality. The STAAR short answer is basically a brief, focused response testing your ability to quickly explain and support an idea using text evidence. They're asking you to show that you understand a concept, you can analyze it, and you can prove it with hard evidence, all in just a few lines. Which brings us to Section 2, Why Short Answers Matter. And I know what you're thinking, the classic 8th grade question. Why do we even have to learn this? While practicing these short answers actually acts like an intense mental workout. Seriously, it teaches you how to think fast under time pressure. It forces you to stay incredibly focused on the prompt, and it trains you to communicate your thoughts crystal clearly. These aren't just test-taking tricks. These are major comprehension and analytical skills that build a massive foundation for high school, for college, and honestly, for your whole life. Whether you're firing off an email to your future boss or defending an argument in a boardroom, getting to the point quickly and backing it up with evidence is an absolute superpower.
All right, picking up the pace here, this is Section 3, How to Craft Your Answer.
Here is your exact, repeatable formula to beat this test every single time. Step 1. Always read the question and underline the key words so you know exactly what they're asking. Step 2. Start your answer by restating that question in your own words. Step 3. Provide a direct quote or a specific paraphrase from the text as your evidence. And Step 4. Briefly connect and explain that evidence. I really want you to think like a sniper here. You're using precise, targeted thinking, aiming directly at the prompt. This isn't some scattergun approach where you just blast a bunch of random thoughts onto the paper, hoping something hits the target. Precision is key. So, the crucial point to remember is 5 to 8. That specific number of well-chosen sentences is your absolute sweet spot. It's enough space to be completely thorough and prove your point, but it also forces you to resist the urge to just brain dump all over the page and wander completely off topic. Keep it tight, right? 5 to 8 powerful sentences.
Let's actually look at this formula in action. Take this sample question. What motivates the main character to take the journey? By using our very first step, you would immediately underline the word motivates. That ensures you don't start rambling about where the character is going or how they're getting there, but specifically why they're doing it. It keeps you locked on to exactly what the scorers want to see.
And this brilliantly illustrates the perfect execution of our steps. Look at how seamless this is. First, it restates the prompt. The main character is motivated by a desire to find his lost sister. Then it smoothly drops in the text evidence, as shown when he says, "I will not rest until I see her again." Finally, it perfectly explains the connection. This shows his strong family loyalty. Bam! Clear thinking, highly relevant evidence, complete explanation. That is exactly how it's done.
Let's move right along into Section 4, Strong versus Weak Evidence.
Okay, now that we have the formula down, we really need to address the single biggest trap students fall into on these exams, picking your text evidence. Let's compare two totally different methods here. Over on the left, we have the ideal approach, taking the time to find one strong, highly relevant quote that completely hits the nail on the head. But on the right, we see the trap, panicking and piling up a huge bunch of unrelated, weak quotes, basically hoping the sheer volume of text will somehow trick the grader into giving you a good score. Listen to me on this, quality always beats quantity. When you're aiming for a concise, apt reply, one perfect quote is infinitely more powerful than 5 mediocre ones.
Which leads us to a golden rule. Never just drop a quote in. Always connect it to the answer. A quote by itself is literally useless. It's like handing someone a single brick and expecting them to see an entire house. You have to provide the mortar. You've got to write that brief explanation connecting your text evidence back to your main point.
All right, let's transition over to Section 5, your homework questions.
Here are the 5 specific assignment questions you'll be tackling to put this magical formula into practice. Number 1. What is the first step in answering a STAAR short answer? 2. Why should you restate the question in your answer? 3. How many sentences should a strong short answer usually have? 4. Why is one strong piece of evidence better than many weak ones? And 5. How do you connect evidence to your answer? Now, take a deep breath. You already have every single tool you need to knock these right out of the park. We literally just covered the whole shebang. Apply the structured thinking we just practiced, and I promise you, these will be an absolute breeze.
Finally, we reach Section 6, Education, Morality, and Peace.
Let's slow things down a bit here, because the Smart Academy philosophy highlights a really stark contrast we need to talk about. On one side, you have education combined with biblical morality. On the other, just being smart but making bad choices. The core argument here is that education without morality is kind of pointless, and quite frankly, it can be destructive. I mean, what's the point of being incredibly highly educated, getting perfect scores on your short answers, and heading off to a great college if you're just going to use that intelligence to continue making selfish choices that hurt yourself and the people around you? True education has to build character, not just your brain.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is it reveals the ultimate reward for engaging with this godly learning. It's found right in Romans 8:6-7, which promises true peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. The Academy really emphasizes that when you align all your hard work in school with a moral, spiritually grounded foundation, the ultimate result isn't just a report card full of good grades, it's an incredible, lasting peace.
So, I want to wrap up our explainer today by leaving you with this powerful question to really chew on. As you master these academic skills and continue to grow in your intelligence, will you use your education to make choices that heal or choices that hurt? Let that sink in as you tackle your homework this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Stay focused, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next explainer.